It's August, and with the NFL preseason in full swing, that means it's time for another Madden game. And just like every year, EA tests my patience because of their continuous money-grubbing policies and absolute dedication to making me sick to my stomach. And with College Football 26 giving me major heartburn, my attention turns to Madden 26. Well, did EA actually improve on last year's game? Is it just another barrel of trash? Let's jump into it. Just like last year's review, I feel like it's probably better off to just start at my bad. I mean, let's be real. Madden has a lot of gross aspects, like they always do. Even that being the case, the grossest and by far the biggest letdown has to be the Showdown mode. I mean, if you want a quick refresher, this mode was in the game last year as a sort of goofy, dumber version of NFL Street. You know, from the OG classic games. Back when EA used to make games with actual content that was fun. Basically, you use your superstar mode character to play in this backyard football league where you play on a 50-yard field and you have 4 plays to score points. And just like last year, it kind of gives off that flag football 3v3 kind of a meta. So sure, did they find a way to make the game slightly better where taunting and swag doesn't actually boost your points? Which, yes, is as dumb as it sounds. But even with them improving the game in some way, the game mode does something that I never thought would be possible, especially with a football game. It somehow got worse. Well, you can't actually pick the plays. I kid you not, the plays are at random. You can't actually have any sort of strategy, and you have to get lucky to get gifted good plays.
All right. Okay.
How dumb do you need to be? Like, how do we go backwards in gameplay? What's next? We get tested in games to see who wins an Oklahoma drill? I mean, 3v3 has been a thing even back in the days of NFL Street. But somehow, some way, devs said, you know what, you like NFL Street and Blitz? Well, let's take that game and just dump it in the toilet with the rest of our ideas. They still have all the problems that I saw from last year. You only have 3 position groups that play both sides of the ball. So if you're a pocket quarterback that isn't meant for speed, then you're going to be a liability on defense. And if you play in trios, you're going to be forced to play out of position, which is just stupid, especially in this day and age. I mean, I don't mind the whole custom character type of deal, and you're trying to boost your stats and even give yourself better attributes for your superstar league player, but this just continues to be a dumpster of a game mode, and if they just copied NFL Street, everyone would be happy for it. Now, I gotta be honest, I used to love the Ultimate Team. The idea of building your dream squad with legends from the past and competing online, I mean, it's just amazing. And if FIFA 09 brought it to life, NCAA added to their game, and I honestly was really happy about it for a while. And eventually, Madden got into it too. But back then, I was one of its biggest supporters. But then, EA did what we all knew they would eventually do. They cranked the greed meter to over 9,000 and completely ruined the mode. And if you're new to it, here's basically the gist. You play games against computers or real players to earn points, which you use to buy card packs in hopes of pulling higher rated characters. Sounds fun, right? But it's basically gambling. Just like ripping Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh packs as a kid, hoping to land a rare card, but except now the stakes are real money and it's actually not fun at all. Yeah, they give you a few nice freebies early on to get you hooked. I got rookie version JJ McCarthy, which is pretty gross, but thought, okay, well, you know, EA isn't maybe trying to be as greedy this year. Because then I remembered, they did give us Bo Jackson a few years ago. They also did give us Christian McCaffrey last year for slamming down the paywall. And sure enough, if you want your team to be more than 70 overall without dedicating half your life to the grind, you're staring at $20, $30, even $40 packs.
Whoa! Bro, they cooking with this one. They cooking. The suggestions are better.
I legit watched as they gave me some easy to earn challenge packs. Then they said, okay, you hit your limit on fun. Where's my money? And here's the kicker. They make you grind harder on purpose. Well, why? So you'll cave and spend the cash. It's one thing to make progression challenging. It's another thing to design your best option to play and have fun by just paying to gamble at a shot at getting a good card. And let's not kid ourselves. This is aimed at kids who don't understand that gambling isn't a guarantee. EA makes billions with a B off Ultimate Team every single year, yet they refuse to reform it into something that remotely is consumer friendly at all, because EA and consumer friendly is like they're allergic to each other. It's a paradox. As long as it stays this predatory, I'm not supporting it. No matter how much gaming media tries to defend it or downplay it, I'm looking at you, IGN. I ain't doing it. It wouldn't be a Madden launch without the usual parade of bugs and broken nonsense. And Madden 26 kind of fits the bill. From the moment I fired it up, it was clear EA still hasn't figured out how to ship a clean game. Launch week, and it was already a mess. People couldn't even log into the servers because they were acting like it was 2005 dial-up internet. I mean, imagine paying for the MVP bundle just to stare at a connecting screen for hours. That's just peak EA, baby. Then there's the in-game stuff. Players warping into the wrong positions, linemen suddenly deciding that they're just, too good to block, and defenders doing this weird tiptoe shuffle like they're sneaking out of the stadium and then just blatantly missing tackles. I've had games where playbooks scrambled mid-match, defenders spawned as offensive players, and in franchise, I even got a rookie OTA pop-up in the middle of week 8. Superstar mode? Yeah, that froze twice on me when I was winning a game, wiping out all my progress. The devs just decided, you know what, I think you're done. My quarterback stood there staring into space, play clocks melting away, racking up infinite delay of game penalties until I just quit. It's like the game has this built-in, you're done having fun switch. In Superstar Showdown, the same glitch of my dude just sitting in the Shadow Realm, waiting for the refs to call a flag on my team. I mean, it was just telling me to get off this game already. Look, I get that bugs happen in video games. When your company makes billions every year, and this is your flagship sports game, you don't get to keep using the "we'll patch it later" as an excuse. Madden still feels like a game that trips over its own shoelaces every time it starts to pick up speed. It's a joke. And worst of all, the feeling of game-to-game movements is kind of trash. I mean, last year I went on a rampage at both college football and Madden, ripping on their movements of both their offensive players and defenders. Well, it seems they didn't listen or watch my video because they decided to double down on the trash. I mean, I drafted Saquon freaking Barkley. The dude can hurdle dudes backwards in real life. Well, guys, that's real life Saquon, because video game Saquon breaks his ankles every time he tries to make a cut. I mean, it's one thing if I'm trash at the game and I'm holding down sprint like a goober. No, I'm actually being strategic and picking when to blast sprint, and he's still trash. And it doesn't help where the offensive line somehow gets dumber. I never thought that it was possible, but they did it. I like that they continue the text and tan stunt concepts from the college football game, but guess what? Your dude is actually brain dead, and God help you if you make a mistake by touching the controller during the snap, because if you did, your defender is going to trip over himself and somehow takes himself out of the game and just gives up. I never thought that Madden would actually get worse, but they surprised me. But before we get into the good, if you liked the video so far, drop a thumbs up and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, we have our memberships turned on for some awesome perks and rewards. Now let's jump back into the video. And with the bad, let's talk about the good. Franchise mode has been the backbone of Madden for years, and in Madden 26, it's still the one mode that feels like it has some heart. The problem? EA quietly removed the ability to play as an owner, and honestly, that kind of stings. No more managing the full financial side of the team, no more making those big off-field decisions beyond the coaching sphere. Like, I can't relocate my franchise if it stinks. We can finally make that British team that no one actually wants. For longtime fans of the mode, that's a big piece of replayability and that's now gone. Now you're locked into being a head coach. That still gives you a lot of control when it comes to play calling, game planning, drafting, player development, but it's missing that extra layer of immersion that made older Madden games feel more addictive. The core loop remains familiar. You prep each week, you scout prospects during the season, then you hit the NFL draft in the offseason. Training camp returns with some drill-based approach like last year, and honestly, they are still one of the best parts of the game. They feel like actual football practice instead of the over-the-top mini-games. Sure, there are some basic ones like dodging cannons that are shooting balls at you, but it's giving you a lot of different modes and even has challenges that make the modes more difficult for possibly bigger rewards. One where you're dodging the balls shot at you, now you can dodge 5 balls being shot at you. Whoopee! Yay! I think it has that similar feel to what college football did, and it's obvious that they're taking the same drills from that game and just adding it to this one. But I did like the touch they made a little more difficult. They've also brought back the in-season storylines, throwing curveballs like trade demands, contract disputes, and depth chart battles that are thrown at you. And on top of that, they also added new progression trees, coaching cards to give your staff a kind of ability system for you to strategize your weekly game plan. I mean, it's all good stuff. Of course, the injury system is still absolutely absurd. I'm talking 3 major injuries in a game sometimes. First play of the season, my top draft pick Saquon Barkley nearly breaks his ankle, was out for a majority of the game, and was at risk of breaking his own ankles when he makes a cut. That's pretty sick. Next game, the opposing team loses 3 dudes from injury, and Joey Bosa gets a strain to his ego and is out for a quarter. At this point, my trainer's table is basically a revolving door, and it makes me want to go coach at the Canadian Football League. Even with that frustration and the baffling removal of the owner mode, franchise is still Madden 26's best offering. It delivers the closest thing to simulation football you're going to get in this game. But man, it could have been even better if EA actually allowed me to be be the owner of a team. I would have sent the Patriots to Siberia. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but Madden 26 actually pulled off something that fans have been begging for since the PS2 era, a real boost in presentation. And I'm not talking about some recycled cutscene or cinematic camera angle. I'm talking about the return of actual halftime shows and weekly broadcasts. We finally get highlights from around the league, division games of the week, and storylines that actually feel relevant. And here's the kicker, it's not choppy or thrown together like it's an afterthought. It looks like EA actually put in the work this time, which is unheard of. It took them, like 2 decades to put together a 2-minute weekly show? But credit where it's due. It's a big win for the presentation department. The crowd audio also gets a noticeable bump. Stadium sounds feel more authentic to each team, and the crowd reactions actually hit. Sure, the fans themselves still look like someone slapped on an N64 texture pack on a cardboard cutout, but the atmosphere feels right. When I threw a pick as the Jets, the boos rained down so hard that I thought it was at MetLife Stadium in real life. It kind of just felt like home. Now, if you're stacking this against College Football 26, Madden finally closes the gap a little bit. College Football still has more pageantry, the bands, the mascots, the unique traditions, but Madden's improved broadcast package makes NFL Sunday feel live in a way that the series hasn't really seen in years. I still wish Chris Berman was the one doing it, but I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty solid. It's not just here's a score and back to the game, it's an actual living lead that you're a part of. And that's kind of immersion fans have been screaming for, and Madden kind of listened, at least in one area. Superstar mode in Madden 26 is kind of like the backup quarterback you keep around. Not great, not terrible, just there. And it's not a huge leap forward from last year, but also doesn't make me want to snap my controller in half. This year, I rolled out with my brand new quarterback, Cheese Wiz. A man so smooth in the pocket, you'd think he came out the Craft Factory itself. Unfortunately, the character creation was pretty much subpar. It really hasn't changed in years. There's limited face options, hairstyles straight out of Madden 12, and nothing close to the customization depth you would expect in 2025. I tried to make Cheese Wiz look intimidating, but I decided to make him a ball of cheese. He kind of looked like a dude that was part of a cheese farm that really should not be playing football. The NFL Combine drills are still the highlight. 40-yard dash, bench press, shuttle runs, and they matter because your performance directly impacts your starting ratings. Cheese Wiz crushed the 40, was one of the fastest quarterbacks in the draft. Stumbled like a newborn deer out of the broad jump, but somehow benched more reps than majority of the players at the Combine. Once in the league, it's the familiar grind. Play games, level up, stack stats, nothing really too revolutionary here. However, the standout addition in this year's game is the Sphere of Influence system. This lets you build relationships with teammates and staff based on your performance in games, practice events, and even off-field situations. You do well, and your allies will give you stat boosts or help you pull off big events. Cheese Wiz became best friends with his left tackle and saving his dog from a rainstorm, and now he'll put his life on the line. I mean, it's not that in-depth. I mean, I got really close with people like Kyle Pitts because I was throwing him passes and he scored touchdowns, which isn't really too complicated. But it was kind of funny seeing that they added in these personal trainers as characters, a sports psychologist as a character, that even said, hey, you know what, if you stink this week, you should come talk to me. Maybe you won't be as bummed. But when you make friends with these different people, you actually do boost your stats, which does kind of help you. So yeah, Superstar mode isn't breaking new ground, but Cheese Wiz running the show and the Sphere of Influence giving it some personality, it's at least a mode I don't dread firing up anymore. When I look at Madden 26, it's still a mixed bag. You boot this game up, bracing yourself to say, yep, this is going to be trash, isn't it? And most years you'd be right, but this time it's slightly less trash. EA doesn't exactly reinvent the wheel, but they did find a way to put some air in the tires, or at least end the breakdown maybe 2 minutes later. The gameplay loop feels a little smoother. Superstar mode, while still not groundbreaking, has enough tweaks like the Sphere of Influence system to keep it feeling like it's not a total afterthought. Franchise mode is still the anchor of the entire game, and with the improved presentation system and halftime shows, the league actually feels alive for once. But then we hit the negatives, and they're still heavy hitters. Ultimate Team is as greedy and grindy as ever, and with one of the most predatory monetization schemes of all time in gaming, it's just pathetic. Bugs are everywhere, from game-breaking freezes to players morphing into the wrong positions mid-game, and the showdown mode just being completely trash makes me want to puke. Madden 26 is a slight improvement over last year, but I put it in a similar category to what my feelings were for College Football 26. Both games have some things that are going well for it. They take a step forward, but then neither does at all what their expectations should be for these games. It's the same frustrating Madden pattern. Take a step in the right direction, then launch yourself face first into the nearest wall. I'm giving Madden 26 a 6.3 out of 10, and the official Mars man Madden mixed bag accolade. It's not good enough to recommend the game at full price, and it's only slightly better than last year. If you are a devout fan of football games, you should get the game when it's on sale. And I usually would recommend college football instead of Madden, but that game's kinda trash too. Maybe by the time that these games go on sale, EA would have fixed the bugs, and remember that they make billions of dollars from Ultimate Team every year, and they can actually take the money and reinvest it into their flagship football game to make it decent again. But if you liked the video, consider dropping a thumbs up and subscribing to support the channel. If you want to see my opinion on College Football 26, check out the video in the end screen. Until next time, this is Marsman signing off. Game on.